Hello, hello, good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing today? I hope you guys are doing well. My name is RODGON. I'm an artist, I'm a designer, I'm a teacher, and more importantly, more than anything, today I am your instructor. So, how are you guys doing today? I hope you guys are doing well. I just felt like jumping on here a little bit. I am going to have a lovely stream with Agnes Garboska in about 40 minutes. So if you guys want to stay for that, that'd be fantastic. But I'm going to give you guys a quick lesson before we do that. Know what? Why is this just on loop? What do you mean? What do you mean on loop? Dude, I'm just here often. So yeah, what is your issue? Let's do some drawing. All right. How can I hide the comments? I don't know. You guys can figure that out on your own. I'm not technical side of things. I am just the teaching side of things. So I'm just going to draw hands. I've been really, really liking my process for hands lately. And it's been really, really useful to be able to see hands as a simple concept, as opposed to always thinking of them as like the most difficult things to draw. And it's been really fun because once you understand something, then you can put style to it. Gamers press on your screen. Oh, yeah, you guys help them out. For all the people that don't want to see the comments. So, the whole thing with Agnes. Agnes is going to be coming on here because she wants to promote her book. So she wants to, she is releasing a Kickstarter book, and I gave her the option to come on here and, talk to us about, what she wants to create, what she's trying to sell, what she's trying to pitch, and, just give her an audience. That's what I want to do for people. For people that, well, that hand is really weird, but it still kind of works, I guess. I don't like it. So we'll just move on. Mark it, and we will just replace it with a post-it later on. Dude, you have really helped me, and not only have you improved, but I'm starting to enjoy art again. Well, isn't that beautiful? Let's mark this. Boop, boop. Construction. So how are you guys doing? How's your Saturday doing so far? I plan to have a beautiful day ahead of me. I'm gonna go to the beach and I'm gonna have some drinks and it should be lovely. So, can you look at my comment? I just looked at your comment. It was not worth looking. So, what else you got? It's like asking, hey, can I ask you a question? It's like, yes, you just did. Thank you. Heading to work. Oh, no, work on a Saturday. Oh, man, I hope that you brought your sketchbook with you. Anytime that you have a chance, go draw something fun so you can make the day really enjoyable for yourself. Pew, 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 pew. Let's see, what should I be doing here? Like I said, we have a little bit of time to kill. So we're not really going to give a lesson until we start our stream. And then we're just going to restart the stream when that comes on. So I'm going to just play some music. Why not? Let's play some music and then draw more. And then draw cool stuff until it's no longer possible. Because my hand falls off. It goes in your thoughts. I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. In my city, all through my bones. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got my good soul in my feet. Ooh. Don't stop under the lights and everything goes. Yeah, it's not getting you close. You already know. Just imagine. No need no show. Sunshine in my pocket, I get some in my feet. Yeah, we just started, but we're gonna listen to some music, and in about how much time is it? In about at 10:30 p.m. No, 10:30 a.m. Pacific. We are going to have a guest come onto the stream, so I'm going to cut the stream a little bit before that, and then we're going to restart it with our guest. So we are going to have Agnes Garboska with us. If you guys aren't familiar with her work, she is a person that worked on Teen Titans Go, and she's worked for DC and does a bunch of work for comic books. So it's going to be good for you guys to get to know what is part of that industry. And she is here to pitch a book, and she's going to ask some random questions that I'm told her to keep me like guessing. So I don't know what we're going to talk about, but hopefully it's like something deep and meaningful because I always crave those conversations. I just never get to have them. But if you guys, I'm just going to draw faces probably for this one. I'm getting really, really happy with the concept of learning where the temples go. And the temples go where the eyebrows go, right? So if you have a measure of where your eyebrow ends, that is going to be where your temple starts. So if you learn how to understand that part of your body a little bit, you're going to be able to draw heads a little bit easier, because that's going to determine all the side of the face pretty much. And knowing that little measurement is incredibly useful. Can you give me some more tips on one expression and what? I don't know what you're saying. Like, you really need to like type your questions in a way that I can understand them. If I don't understand your question, I can't help you. I'm not gonna go back and read comments, dude. Like, I don't have, like, it takes a lot of concentration to actually do this stuff. So ask the questions properly. Don't have me go back and look at questions because you mistyped them, and don't expect me to answer them if you don't type them right. That's essentially just how it's gonna be. Because that's just it, dude. Like, Also, the other thing, like if I don't look at your questions, it's not because I don't like see it. It's mostly because it's probably not anything aligned with what I'm teaching. So I'm not answering your questions because they don't have anything to do with what I'm trying to educate people in. And I'm trying to be a better teacher. I struggle on the positioning angle of the nose. Can you touch up on that? Positioning angle of the nose. Yeah, we can do that. It's actually not incredibly hard to understand. The nose in itself is a pyramid. If you think of your midline for your face, right, and you draw a triangle on it, you have access to the base of a pyramid. A triangle becomes a pyramid if you just draw a dot and connect all 3 points to it. So draw a dot and connect all 3 points to it. Now you have a bottom section and then you have the sides. Now, if you want the nose in a different direction, all you have to do is draw a triangle and draw a dot. And you have access to drawing your nose in every angle you can possibly want. Okay? Because it's that simple. Triangle, dot, connect the lines, and you have a nose. Now, your styling of it is going to come down to how much reference you have and how much knowledge about anatomy you have. But the actual act of coming up with the basic shape of the nose is relatively simple, regardless of the sizing of it. What is the hardest and what was the hardest thing to learn to draw? For me, it was the subtlety of posing. The subtlety of the posing dynamics has always been one of the most complicated things. Like, how does one person draw a person like this, right? Just completely straight. Let's draw the head a little bit bigger. And then how is it that someone can easily manipulate that to just be a little bit more appealing with very subtle movement, not a lot of movement, very subtle movement. That subtlety has plagued me for the most of my career because I learned to exaggerate things, right? I learned to push the envelope on things. So for me, there's like 2 gears. There's this, and then there's the other gear, which is a massive, drastic difference. And even though it's fun to be able to do that and get results with it, it's been really hard to get subtlety and to make it look good. So that is an ongoing thing for me. Like, I can make something very complicated, like the pose is very exaggerated and like I can get that really easy. But I can't get the subtlety that I want sometimes because my brain doesn't let me. So that is a constant fight for me, to try to like find subtlety within my shapes instead of always just going for the most exaggerated look, which is not always called for, and it doesn't really always portray the image or the thing that I want. So that's the hardest thing for me. And that was also why like women curves and stuff like that were so hard for me. Instead of just thinking of my body as a very simple shape, right? Ta-da! And just learning how my body parts flowed so that I could draw them quickly, like good gestures, instead of always thinking of every single body part. Like once I understood that and understood a very basic concept of my body parts, as in the rib cage being an egg, my hip bones just being a circle, with like the edges as little horns coming out, that allowed me the freedom to be able to pose my characters in any way, shape, or form I want because I have these connecting points. Once I find connecting points in the form of my hip bones, in the form of my upper sushi, that's what I'm calling it now, Once I found these hip bone, like these guidelines from the pivot point of my arm and my leg, then I can just give its volume going inside. So I find the outside, which is the pivoting part, and then I go inside. Sometimes that's gonna overlap it. Ooh, and that's perfectly fine. Maybe it overlaps the other way. And now the person's twisting their leg. Maybe this doesn't go completely down. It goes at an angle. Get what I mean? Anywhere that you draw that pivot line from, all you got to do is connect it back to that same hole, and then you have access to every single pose available. But you just have to learn how to move a simple shape. Fast doodle someone frustrated. Cool. All right, let's do this guy. Actually, no, let's just do it from scratch. A person that's frustrated would probably have their jaw clenched. So they would have like, they'd have veins and they'd have their ear. So all this part would not flex or anything, but you would have like a bunch of dynamic lines just like building up like the veins and muscles. Just really frustrated. Then the next thing we're going to do, we already found the ear. So the ear is going to dictate kind of roughly what our thirds are going to be for our head. Right? So if we divide our head into 3, we have access to understanding a little bit more of how our head is structured. Now, most of our detail is going to be based off of this middle section. Our ear is always going to fall about half of the width of your head. So if you have this in the middle and you draw a circle around it, that equals this side and this side, you end up with where your features are gonna be. All right, this gives you enough space here, it gives you your temples, which gives you your eyebrows. If that's my eyebrow, my eye has to fall underneath my eyebrow. If this is where my cheekbone is, that means that my nose canal is right here. That means the little triangle is right there. Key hint. Another key hint, that middle section, 1, 2, 3, this, if you're gonna draw that triangle, draw it about half of the way up. That way you have access to your eye placement perfectly. Wherever that top of the triangle is, that's where your eyes go. So, and then his eyebrows are gonna be frustrated. Maybe he'll have an up and have drool coming down. And then you can give it whatever hairstyles you want. Any tips on coloring? Coloring is going to be mostly contrast work. So if you understand how to create contrast, you don't really need even color. Let's see, how do I explain this? It has to be like this. So let's say that we have 2 different little circles, and one of them is colored, one of them isn't. In order to make one look a certain color, we darken the inside. In order to make this one look the other color, like the lighter color more, you color the outside. So understanding that very basic dynamic can help you understand how to create depth really, really quickly by just understanding how 2 simple colors work together. How does this work? Well, this works in a lot of different ways, but a lot of the most prevalent ones are understanding how something that has color being next to something that doesn't have color lightens it up. So in this case, I don't have white, but by making all the colors around the white sections that I need a different darker color, it starts looking like it's a lighter tone. Same thing happens when it comes down to other elements. If I want to make this stand out and I want to pop out, even on just a very basic tone paper, all I have to do is add color around it to make it look like it's standing out. I don't have to color itself. I just have to color around it. And just by doing that, I can put emphasis on the parts that I want within my structure. And that is just the very basic concept of contrast. And if you understand just contrasting, you don't even need to know like how to shade or like how to like shade all that much. All you're gonna have to do is just learn that next to something that you want it to stand out, you need to add the separate color scheme. Like if I wanted this to stand out, I can make this body part stand out by just coloring that, or I can color the outside. Two different ways of highlighting different elements within my shape. See what I mean? And it's a very easy way to give your characters like features and clothing and stuff like that really quickly. So that is the biggest thing that I would say about color. It's about understanding how the like things contrast with each other and making that into a desired effect. All right, what time we got? 10. Okay, T minus 20 minutes. And then we're going to cut it short so that I can get ready because I need to look presentable if I'm going to have a guest. I need presentable looks. About half after your eyebrow, you draw a circle to the remaining space in your head, and you have the midline for this big circle. And that's going to be where your ear goes towards the back. Not in the middle, towards the back. Towards the back. Okay? Then the back of your head is your spine. If you lower the bottom of this square and you draw a circle going forward, you can draw your rib cage like an egg. The ear to my chin. And then you connect the chin to the collarbone. Boom, shakalaka. So hard. Anatomy is so hard, Rod. It's so hard. It's so complicated. I don't understand it. Well, that's what you have me for. Big muscles. How to draw baggy clothes. Okay, so if you want to draw baggy clothes on people, let's take this guy into consideration, okay? The thing you need to understand is that clothing is a very like if you have like a piece of clothing, it's just parallel volume to your actual anatomy. So if you have your leg, the actual clothing are just gonna fall in line with going around your body part. And that's if it's baggy, that volume gets increased. So if I have a leg right there, if I just want to make a very basic, very basic, big baggy pants, I would just go to my hip bone area right here where my pants connect and flare it out to meet that expectation. Now, if you want to create folds, you got to consider perspective. This is going to have volume, right? What happens if that volume starts getting a little bit different, a little bit skewed? You end up with all these guidelines you can use to be able to draw all the folds that you want. Because drawing intersecting lines gives you overlapping lines that cut into each other. And that is how you use that to be able to create baggy pants. With control. You know, you got to control it. It's not just drawing it for drawing's sake. You have to know what you're doing. Wrinkles on the face. Yeah, we can talk about that. All right, let me cover this guy up. I don't like the frustrated guy. Okay, so let's talk about wrinkles on the face. So wrinkles on the face are going to come from understanding where your bone structure falls. So if you have a basic face, we're going to draw a triangle and we're going to draw guidelines. We're going to draw following these lines up. We're going to go up and around to this side. That's going to be our eye socket. This is where our eye is going to lay. Okay? Down and around gives us our mouth space. Gives us our teeth line. And then from there to the edge of our face that comes along around where our cheekbone ends, from here to the angle where your mouth is, that is the edge of your cheekbone line. So that means that that is also where your mouth hinges. That's where the little curve happens in your mouth. So that triangle gives you a bunch of guidelines that later on help you understand how to draw the elements of your face. So understanding where those guidelines go allow you to be able to draw the face a little bit easier. Now, wrinkles come from all these little bone intersections, right? So let's zoom into an eye, for example. Zoom in, time. So what happens with an eye is that you have your eyelid, which is one long line that is intersected by a different line, a little thinner line that's a little bit thinner. It's not an almond. It's not a circle. It's not any of that shit. Think of your eyes as two lines like this. Only you're making one top line darker and giving it style, and you're leaving the bottom one thinner so it contrasts. If you learn how to do that, you can draw eyes really easy. The wrinkles of the eyes come from the skin that wraps around the eye socket, the skin that folds over the eyeball, and also the skin that wraps around your cheekbone, so around this. So it goes around that stuff. So it goes out of your eye and then it wraps around your bone. The wrinkles happen because your skin loses elasticity and it starts going into your actual bone structure. So that is what's happening. The more wrinkles you see is because that skin is losing elasticity and you're starting to see a little bit more of that actual bone structure underneath. So a lot of those wrinkles happen because of that. Now, when it comes down to the nose, you end up in a situation where the nose starts getting bigger the older you get. The cartilage starts growing. And then the sides right here, these triangle lines, start getting accented a little bit more as your cheekbone starts overlapping the bottom part of your face. And slowly, as you age, your cheekbones start getting saggier and saggier until they overtake your jaw. And then you end up in a situation where you have a character like this. But the wrinkles happen because your skin starts hugging your actual bone structure. And you start getting a little bit more of an idea of what the anatomy underneath is hitting, which is your bone structure. Okay? So that's what's happening in those areas. Insane. Thank you so much. You're so smart. No, I'm just observant. I'm actually a pretty stupid person. I don't make the right decisions a lot. But when it comes down to art, I'm very observant. So I'm able to see a little bit deeper than other people, and therefore I'm able to communicate that to people a little bit better. Thus my superpower. What are you using to draw? Isn't there supposed to be an equal eye space on the eye level? What do you mean? I don't understand what you mean. Can you please like reiterate that differently? Because I don't understand what you're saying. What am I using to draw? I'm using Illo hue markers and a ballpoint pen. Once you get to the point where I am at, you'll be able to draw bodies really simple by just even drawing a simple square, like a simple circle. Understanding little minuscule things about spacing allow me to understand how to draw a little body really, really simple. I can use these simple bodies to tell stories of all sorts, shapes, and sizes. And they're very, very simple to maneuver and control. So I highly recommend that if you're looking to get better at posing, get good at drawing this level. A super simple, basic level where you're only drawing like little tiny appendages and stuff like that, not focusing so much on the anatomy, and then actually learning how to move a character like that. If you're able to take a simple sphere and give it a body by drawing little quadrants, little horns, and then just slowly learning how to move a simple body like this, it's gonna make drawing more complicated shapes later much, much easier. Because this is essentially the same thing, just stretched out a little bit. And then when you start going into anatomy, you start getting all the little curves and all the semblances of style that you guys want for your characters, right? It's all a matter of just taking it step by step and learning at every stage of the way so that when you get to a higher level, you're not questioning everything. Because if you're questioning everything, then you're not really understanding it. You're just guessing. Can I get some advice? Yes. That's your advice. How do you draw expressions from memory? You go and you observe people. You have to observe people to understand how they look. Like you can't see a person being angry and simplify it if you don't go out and see how their eyebrows work, right? You can't make a person look really happy if you don't understand how your cheekbones work, because it's going to be part of what makes the character look like that. Understanding how to draw complicated expressions comes from playing around with the eyebrows and seeing what happens when you play with different shapes. What happens if this eye stays the same, but this eye changes? Does it change the expression? It does. It's a more like perplexed instead of confused. What happens if I start closing my eyelid? See what I mean? Like there's a bunch of different variations that you can do, and it's an infinite amount of shapes that you can play with. You just have to learn as many as you can so that whenever you need to, like call upon one, you can do it. So if you don't know how to draw eyes, it's just one curvy line, another curvy line that intersects it, and then just draw the style. Later on, these can be taken into a deeper level of understanding and draw more realistic, detailed lines, whatever. But start with just 2 lines. One thick one, one thin one, and then give it eyelashes to one side. And that actually works really good. We just overthink things so much. Like we overthink everything. Can you show us how to draw bodies? Yes. Yes, I can. Yes, I definitely can show you guys how to draw bodies. I think I do that every day. I think I've gotten to the point where I'm teaching more of an anatomy situation than anything else because I'm enjoying it heavily. So I'm enjoying learning and like refining my knowledge. And finding ways to be able to draw more complicated things just makes me really happy because then I can go in and draw things like this, right? Then I can just go in and have fun with my drawings and my knowledge. I don't have to stick to studies. I can apply that to pretty much anything I want. So being able to draw one way doesn't mean that you're stuck just doing studies or whatever. You can apply that knowledge to absolutely anything you're feeling like doing. How do we learn people in perspective? How do we know the planes are correct? Okay. Well, understanding how to place a person in space is very difficult because it's normally explained in a very difficult way. But this is how I do it. Okay? Check it out. I'm going to draw a character. I'm not going to worry about too much of the perspective of the dude. I'm just going to draw a little swooshy, which is kind of like this little like boomerang shape with two little feet. Okay? If I draw this guy and I draw him on a flat plane, he doesn't really have anywhere to go, right? He just has that. He's going to be on this little singular plane and he's going to be happy. If I want to make this guy look like he has some sort of depth, all I have to do is move this line either up or down. If I move this line up, it now gives me a little bit of a background because it's behind him, not underneath him. The higher up I move this line, the more space in the background I have to be able to generate some sort of volume. And then if I start drawing things in the front, you end up with a foreground because it's in front of him. So having that is very important. Just understanding that. Now, your feet also play a big role. If you draw your feet like this, and they're flat, you're always going to have to draw them on a flat plane because that's what you're drawing. Now, if you angle your feet down a little bit, right, and you move that horizon line up, all of a sudden your character looks like they have a little bit more depth. Weird. Ooh. How do you make the perspective under the body? Okay, well, you're going to switch it. Instead of going like this and moving that horizon line up, we're going to move that horizon line down. What happens? Now the character looks like they are massive, like they are the horizon, right? Ooh, look, oh my God, look at him, he's so huge. So that's it. You want it from above ground, draw that background line higher. If you want it from underneath, move it lower. And then draw your characters accordingly. Rod, how do you personally figure out a good character design? I think it's mostly due to like if you actually can, if you can make your character feel alive. If you can make a character, even if it's the most simple character in the world, if you can make them feel like they have some sort of personality, they are going to feel so much better as character designs. And I highly, highly suggest that you practice heavily on trying to get your expressions and your body postures really, really good so that you can actually make these things come to life. That is, to me, the essence of a good character design. It's not about making it look pretty. It's about making it look alive. And if you can make it look alive, then I think you have succeeded because you have created a character, not just designed it. All right, so our time is 10:20. We are going to call it a day for right now. We are going to jump on again in about 10 minutes with Agnes Garboska. And she will be bringing together a question or two that we will discuss over like about an hour or a page worth of sketches. So you guys can come draw with us a little bit more. And if you guys feel like supporting the stream, make sure that you always hit that like button because we haven't gotten any likes lately. You guys don't hit that unless I actually acquiesce. That's really low. We're normally at like the 30K, 40K by the time we're done. We only got 6.2 today. Sad panda. Sad panda time. Anyways, I'm sure you guys still enjoyed it. I'm sure you guys still learned a lot. So it doesn't really matter. Numbers are numbers. But that's the only way that I know that if it actually made any sense to you guys. So whenever I see low numbers, I just assume the lesson didn't hit really good. And then I'm like, okay, cool. I just got to change that plan. But anyways, have a lovely day. You guys have a lovely, lovely Saturday if you guys don't decide to stay with us. And I'll see you guys in about 10 minutes for another stream.